Hi everyone, Jason here, reminding you to like and subscribe to our channel for more supporter news. It really helps us out. And now, on with the show.
Welcome to HTN, everybody. I'm Ted Godwin here at the Wicket Hall, ready for the season opener party for Pacific FC. Today we're going to get to see the new jerseys, maybe see some signings. Kakuta Mane should hopefully drop by, our latest signing, and we're looking forward to a great evening of beer and food and fun.
Ted, that's me. Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a 50-50 chance.
There you go.
But you get to talk to Ted. He's the serious one. I'm the guy that drinks beer.
Ted Godwin here at the season launch party with Paul Beirne, the what is your official title?
Managing Director.
Managing Director of PFC. Now, this is going to be your first full year in charge. Is that correct?
Yeah, I arrived here in October. There was, I think, 1 or 2 games after I arrived.
And can you tell us a bit about how you came to be? You've had a bit of a journey through the soccer world or football world. I mean, it's not just located in Canada, right? I mean, you've had experience outside of Canada.
Yeah, I had about 2.5 years with Brighton and Hove Albion when they were in the championship. And 2016, 17, 18, I kind of spent crisscrossing the country helping set up this league.
And now it was from that position then that you came here to PFC, and you talked earlier this evening about PFC coming to recruit you. I mean, they came and were looking for you. Is that correct?
Yeah, they were doing a search for somebody to take over for Rob, because Rob was about to lead the charge on the Vancouver team. And and so I got a call from Josh, and I of course had known those guys through the process of bringing them into the Canadian Premier League. So I had a very good relationship with them, and like I talked about, the idea of a purpose-driven club really appealed to me. I've often said, I'm not the biggest soccer fan, which isn't entirely true. I have fallen in love with the game, but really what jazzes me about working in sport and working in soccer is the power of the game. And so at a game, you'll see me enjoying the supporters in the stands as much as I am enjoying what's happening on the pitch.
And so would you say that it was the personal relationship that brought you here, or is it that overarching goal?
It's both, and it's a fascination with the West Coast. So my wife and I have also we lived in Vancouver in the 90s, and there's just a draw that that it's like a magnet. It draws you back to the West Coast. So we had not really spent too much time in Victoria. So Victoria proper and Vancouver Island were a bit of something new for us. I did bungee jump in Nanaimo in 1992, but this is kind of a new adventure for us.
And speaking of adventures in the West Coast, and earlier today a promotional video was put up with the new jersey launch. Featured heavily was a 1979 Westphalia van.
Yeah, Mexico beige. Yeah.
Mexico beige. And I understand this was your personal vehicle.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you look closely, there's Ontario plates on that sucker. And my wife and I, when we came out, we drove it across the country. It took 11 days because when you have a 79 Volkswagen camper, anything can happen. Life's a party.
Exactly. And so the party is going to begin here on the coast. What are you looking forward to most this year?
Getting into Champions League. Yeah, I think this club and the spirit of this club, the that intangible chemistry that happens not just among the team, but between the team and the supporters, the team and the front office, and just the whole community. There's something really special here, and I think we will harness that to like I said. Like I said earlier tonight, there's 3 doorways for us now into CONCACAF, and so playing in CONCACAF is really where we want to be.
And in terms of impact on the business side of it, how do you feel we're going to be doing this year? Are we looking at potential sellouts on a regular basis? Are we looking at new stands perhaps next year? Where business-wise do you think we're going to be going in the next year?
New stands is not a conversation that I can have without the Mayor of Langford standing beside me. that's a big investment, and it's an investment that really has an impact on the whole community. However, I would say our goal is to sell that place out and to demonstrate to the community that we need a bigger place.
And also, just for those who may be watching, earlier this evening you mentioned there may be some buses coming out of the Strathcona, so some downtown shuttle buses. When you say a few games, how many games might be seeing?
I don't know. I know that we're planning for a select number of games, so I just didn't want to mislead everybody into thinking it was every game. But yes, we believe that there's a real opportunity if we can bridge the gap between Victoria and Langford. As a city boy from Toronto, I know it's an 18-minute drive. But I also know in the hearts and minds of some people in Victoria, it's like 1,000 miles, and it's really not. And so we really want to help them bridge that gap and get them comfortable with the idea of coming out to our games, because anybody that comes to a PFC game, their eyes are wide open, and they're suddenly awake to the notion of something special's happening out there.
Well, and certainly there was something that we talked about last year, and not with you, but we understood that there was approximately 50% of the attendance for PFC games came from Langford or immediate environs of the stadium. And that seemed to us be a bit of an issue. Is that something you're hoping to be able to improve this year?
I wouldn't say that's an issue at all. I would disagree. I think football is an urban sport. I think people want to walk to the ground, and so I disagree. I think it's one of our greatest strengths. If you come to one of our games, you see the city of Langford reflected in our stands. You see young families, you see kids, you see the next generation of football support right there in front of you. And so I think it's something worth celebrating. And could we have more people from the rest of the region? For sure. But the support we have in Langford is really the foundation upon which we build.
Great, thanks very much. And I'm just one last question. I just want to get a sense of what your personal goal is for this year. What do you hope to achieve as the general manager for this season?
Well, definitely CONCACAF, and I want our owners to stop having to write checks. So I want to sell more seats, sell more sponsorship, and just generally, create something that achieves all of the potential of PFC. You come to a PFC game, you see potential. I want us to approach that potential.
Jamie, how are you feeling right now going into the new season?
Yeah, well, it feels like we've been working hard quietly because it's just our team and our staff every day. So I think tonight is kind of like official kickoff and launch, and now you see the energy and get a little bit of the buzz for our season to officially start.
And just to jump right into the big news, today the signing was announced for Kakuta Mane, and I understand that was a bit of a personal connection between you and Kakuta to get him to sign.
Yeah, I mean, some of the guys that I worked with at the Whitecaps, of course, I follow and I watch their careers, and I'll send them messages once in a while and just say, hey, are you ready to come back to the Isle, coming to the CPL? So I've been bugging Kakuta for a few years, and I think he's at a place right now where he really wants to enjoy his football and try to find his form again. He's still only 28 years old. He's still very young, and his ambition is to get back to the MLS. So it was the right timing, and it worked for us, and I'm excited to work with him. We're really happy to have him in the team and in the club.
And I guess tactically it's interesting because it felt in the preseason like we had a pretty strong front line, and now we've got another option. How are you feeling about that whole front line overall?
Yeah, I think the competitiveness is what you need in any top team. You see it. Competitiveness within training for positions, for starting roles. It's only going to make us better. It's only going to drive the competition internally. And I think we have a lot of versatility and some depth. Maybe at times last year we'd pick up a couple injuries and we'd lack a little depth. And I'm hoping that that's not going to be a problem this year with some of our attacking options, the new signings that we've made.
And so definitely at the front of the pack, we've got this great team. How are you feeling in the back line? How's the defense looking towards depth?
I think Amir and TMG have built a great relationship. I think a lot of people haven't seen Paul Amadume because he was on loan. He's somebody that has big potential. He played in 2021, a few matches right at the end of the season. and we're very excited about him. Just nobody knows who he is. So we're happy with him as a center back option. We also have Eric Lajeunesse, who we drafted, and we'll be announcing that he's going to stay on with us, so you guys can share that as well, which we're excited to have him as a U Sport draft. And then between Kunle and George and Bradley is very competitive. And if you think about the Champions League games, we could play George on the left as well. So all three of those players are fighting for the right back, left back. So I think we're in a good space. And then we have Emil, who's young, but he's already been with us for 3 years, and he's got great potential. And that's part of who we are as a club too. Somebody has to give them a chance at some point. So we've made the decision to go with younger goalkeeper Emil and Kieran Basket, only 21 years old, both Canadian, and we're going to give them a chance.
Yeah, it's been interesting in preseason watching them. They've looked good. They've looked a little young, to be fair, but I think it's always going to be exciting.
Some moments, and we hope that you guys, the supporters, the Lakeside boys, the TOP, and our fans understand. And I think we've talked about this before, that our ambition is to win, and our ambition is also to develop players and give them an opportunity. So we need to keep both as our focus.
And speaking of winning, earlier this evening you spoke about the 3 routes to CONCACAF League, and I sense the hunger, at least if with you, and I assume with the boys as well, to get back in there. What would you say is our chances of getting one of those doors opening?
I mean, it's up to us, and it's up to us, and we're within control of that, and it's about consistency. I think what you saw last year is, towards the end, Ottawa and Forge became a little bit more consistent, but at the same time, we only missed it by 1 game. If we win 1 more game in the regular season, we're regular season champions. And we lost in the second leg to Ottawa, but I mean, we were right there. So it's about the fine details, fine margins, the little differences. And if we can pick up some points where we dropped last season, and that's going to make the difference at the end of the day.
And it's interesting because last year, there's a segment of the population out there for whom the story of last year is we lost Diaz and the season went to crap. And yet, I think when you point out that we were 1 game away from winning the whole thing.
Any of the 28 matches. And also, it was our highest point total ever in Pacific's 28-game history. So, I mean, we were there. If we would have taken care of 1 more game, and we would have taken care of Ottawa in the first leg and not conceded that second goal, maybe it's a totally different story. But that's sport. That's football, and we're happy to have that as expectation. That pushes us. That motivates us.
And I got to say, from the fan perspective tonight, everybody seemed pretty excited about the idea, and I think we're all behind you. Thank you very much, Jamie. It's been great to talk to you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's been an interesting evening, wouldn't you say, Ryan?
Yeah, it was good to see some of the stuff. The Magician was interesting. Everything else was good to see. I mean, we got our full in-person reveal of all the jerseys.
Yep.
And I'm happy with them. I think we're good.
I got to say, that was the biggest surprise for me. The videos that came out, I wasn't impressed. I have to be honest. And then I saw them in person, and I think I'm starting to warm to them.
I'm not going to lie, I worked today, so I didn't see the videos. I just walked in and saw them in person. I was like, oh, it's not bad. So I'll get to go home and watch those great videos and probably learn what the point of them is. Because for me, I'm like, I just look at them at face value without knowing the backstory, knowing anything else. And I'm like, the bear is a decision that I don't understand. Going to watch the video for that one. The other one looks like a Hawaiian shirt. Love it. No problems with that. Glad to see we have a legit Canadian sponsor now. We are no longer twins with fucking Halifax.
Yep.
So we're no longer dual sponsored. We have our own sponsor now. So yay.
Yay. This is good progress for the league. That's the best we can say probably about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's not Carlsberg, which would have been my number 1 seed of sponsors so far for Canadian companies.
Carlsberg?
I think so. I mean, Tim Hortons' colors don't match. It wouldn't fucking work. I never would have wanted them.
No.
And of all the other sponsors on jerseys right now, having a beer sponsor for your team is not bad. I'm not going to lie. I mean, yeah, we have other breweries in town that would totally been better, but they're not big enough to want to sponsor us yet.
True, that is a bit of a problem. The overwhelming vibe here in Victoria is craft beer, independent beer producers.
Yeah,
but
that's
none
true.
Of them
Carlsberg would go against that, but I'm just wishing on a well of what would I think the best shirt sponsor in the league I could get right now would be. Tellus wouldn't have been it, but I'll take it over VW. It is an easy win.
Fair enough.
You can't complain.
Fair enough. One of the interesting things everybody's talked about tonight is the three pathways to CONCACAF action.
Yeah.
The CONCACAF Champions League, there's three ways to do it. We have the regular season champion, the postseason cup winner, or the Voyageurs Cup.
Yeah.
And what are you thinking? I mean, did it sound to you like we're going to go for it? I mean, what do you feel? I'm pretty confident that we got to get one of those three spots.
I mean, we're always going to go for it, but I think having those options is great. Because I'm going to give you a hint. I'm pretty sure the exact same three options are available to the MLS teams. The difference is there's 30 MLS teams. There's 8 CPL teams. There's actually 30 is not right. 30-ish MLS teams. That might not be the right number. So they have a lot more flack to go through, whereas we have 8. So our chances of, 1, being top of the league at the end of the season, we got a 1 in 8 shot. Not even considering talent, just a literal roll of the dice. There's a 1 in 8 shot. We do that. And then Canadian Championship as well is way less stuff to go through than even the U.S. Championships. So our path to getting in the CPL, or not CPL, the CONCACAF League,
Yep.
we have the options and we have the odds and we have the talent, and I don't see there's any reason we couldn't make one of those three things happen.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, and I think they're ready for it. What do you think about the signings that were announced today? We got
There's a whole
Mane
list of them, man.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch, but Mane certainly had to be the biggest name coming forward.
Yeah, and I was talking to some of the other guys, and they're saying the way it's always going to be is exactly like this. There's turnover, but there's always some people we know are going to be there next season. But a lot of it just comes down to it's the end of the day. People are looking for teams right now, and we got lucky on player connections. I mean, we only have him because he knew Jamie.
Yep.
It seems like that was the reason I was
It's
told.
a very personal connection there. They know each
He had
other.
a connection
they
with
work each
Jamie,
other.
and he at some point they got together and he says, "I'm looking for a team," and he knew him through Jamie, and that's the only reason I think we got him. I mean, It's central player connections.
And what's interesting is I think at some point someone mentioned that he might be looking for a return to MLS, but I think what's good for that is it means we won't be losing him if he makes a transfer at an inopportune moment. I don't think, because with the European transfer window, as we saw last year, suddenly in the middle of the season we lose a player.
That's true. So unless that opens up for him, we're pretty good. I think we got a good chance of keeping him around. And the thing is, if he puts in a good, solid season with us, I think the MLS teams might take another look at him because, as I just mentioned, there's 30 of them. Some of them are going to be looking for that kind of talent. But he has to also be able to put together a full, clean season with good performance numbers. I mean, and that's how this league works, though. Like, you have to put in the work. And if he doesn't come here and put in that work and put those numbers on the board, they're not going to look at him. And he is older in his career, so he has to be able to produce. And that's what we got to see if he's planning to leave. If he just does anything, I'm going to be happy, though. Like, I'm very excited to have him in the league.
Exactly. What was your best part of the evening? What do you think was?
I got to ask a question.
Okay, so you guys have all been here multiple years, so here's the easy one. What this year are you specifically focusing on to do different, to do better, to help this team win? Thank you.
I think, we won the championship a couple years back. Last year we were a win away from, winning the regular season. We were a goal away from getting into the finals again. So I think now it's just about coming down to those details. We went through spells where we were good, spells where we weren't as good. So I think it's just about being consistent throughout the whole season. It's a 28-game season. It's a long year. Keeping everyone on the pitch is the biggest thing. Last year, myself, I was in and out. A lot of us were in and out with injuries and suspensions. I think if we can all stay on the pitch and be playing for the club, we have a team behind us to win the championship again.
No, we've gotten some good talking to with people, which has been really exciting. This has been a good atmosphere. They packed this place, and that amount of people showing up was really good.
Yeah, it seemed like a pretty good evening. If tonight's anything to go by, the season opener should be a pretty rocking time.
Yeah, I expect that. Rumors are there's a good amount of Vancouver fans going to show up. They have their own section. I learned about that. It's going to be important. It's important to note that. But I think it was all good. This is a really good event. I'm glad we're back to doing this yearly. You can't go wrong having the meet. It's basically a giant meet and greet with players. I mean, they were almost all here at some point talking, and if there's anybody you want to talk to, you can probably go talk to them.
I think every player so far signed, and even a few who aren't signed, perhaps.
Well, there was a big list of players mentioned by Tricia earlier on that I had to scratch my head, and I was like, I think I know who that is, because it was the unfortunate that you mentioned earlier. If you're going to announce people, you should say their full names.
It might help, but we'll get there.
They're new. I'm not going to recognize every single person's first name yet. I don't recognize any of them because I haven't seen a jersey with their name on it yet. There's a lot of new faces that I'm going to have to figure out, that we're all going to have to figure out.
Yeah, the only jersey with a name on it I saw tonight was on the Magician, who was wearing a Manny Aparicio jersey.
Yeah. I mean, we recorded that, so I don't even know if we're going to bother to put that part up since somebody might claim copyright, but I don't really care.
Yeah.
It was an interesting bit. I saw some of it. We'll see how it goes.
It seemed to amuse some people. It was kind of fun. Move on.
I was excited. This was a good night at Sticky Wicket Hall.
Yeah.
What can you say? We had a great time.
All right, well, thanks, Ryan. It's been great. We've had a lot of fun tonight. We hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. And from all of us here at HTN, I want to say good night, and we'll see you next time when you hear the noise.